Trust. It is the invisible thread that binds relationships, the foundation upon which societies stand, and the currency of the soul. But have you ever felt that subtle gnawing doubt about someone, that quiet voice whispering, something isn't right? It's not loud, it doesn't demand attention, yet it lingers, growing stronger with time until you can no longer ignore it. Trust is a delicate bridge, and once broken, its fragments seldom fit together as they once did. But how do we know when trust is misplaced? Can we discern the signs before the damage is done? Or must we always learn the hard way, picking up the pieces of our shattered faith after betrayal has already struck? Pause for a moment and consider how many people in your life have earned your trust because of their words but failed to honor it through their actions. How many times have you ignored your intuition, choosing instead to see the best in someone who, deep down, you knew wasn't deserving of your faith? The world is filled with masks, worn by those who know how to say the right things, flash the right smiles, and even feign the right emotions. But behind those masks lie intentions that may not align with yours, sometimes out of malice, and other times simply out of selfishness. And so, the question becomes, how do we see beyond the surface? How do we protect ourselves from the pain of misplaced trust? Imagine standing on the edge of a deep forest, shrouded in mist. Each person you meet hands you a lantern, promising it will guide you safely through the woods. Some lanterns burn brightly, their flames steady and true. Others flicker, casting shadows that seem to grow darker with every step. The problem is, you won't know which lantern will fail until you are deep within the forest, unless of course you know the signs. This is the journey of trust. Each relationship is a lantern offered to you, and your ability to discern its strength could mean the difference between finding your way and becoming hopelessly lost. Yet the signs are there, often hiding in plain sight. The challenge lies in recognizing them before it's too late. Trust, once broken, leaves scars that take years to heal. And for some, those wounds never fully close. They walk through life guarded, mistrustful of even the purest intentions. But what if you could spare yourself this pain? What if you could identify the red flags before they turned into full-blown betrayals? Ask yourself who in your life makes promises they seldom keep, who offers kind words but leaves you questioning their sincerity, who, in the quiet of your thoughts, makes you wonder if their loyalty is genuine or merely convenient. Today, I invite you to step into the light of awareness. Let us examine the telltale signs that someone cannot be trusted. These signs are not always glaring. In fact, they are often subtle, wrapped in charm and cloaked in good intentions. But make no mistake, they are there, waiting to be uncovered. Let us embark on this journey together, peeling back the layers of deception to reveal the truth that lies beneath. Because trust is too precious a gift to squander on those who do not deserve it. Sign 1: inconsistency between words and actions. There is a profound wisdom in the simple phrase, "By their fruits you shall know them." This timeless truth echoes across ages and scriptures, serving as a guiding light for those seeking clarity in a world often clouded by deceit. Inconsistency between words and actions is not merely a flaw of character, it is a betrayal of the sacred principle of integrity, which binds our words to our deeds and reflects the authenticity of our hearts. Think of the weight of a promise. When someone speaks words of commitment, they are not merely making sounds, they are invoking a sacred covenant. Words carry the power to heal or to harm, to uplift or to destroy. And yet, when actions fail to align with those words, they reduce promises to empty echoes, eroding the very foundation of trust. Consider this: would you follow a guide who assures you of a safe path, only to lead you into perilous terrain? Would you trust the farmer who boasts of planting seeds of wheat, but reaps only thorns? The answer, of course, is no. Yet how often do we allow ourselves to be deceived by those whose actions contradict their assurances? Inconsistency is not just an annoyance, it is a reflection of something deeper, a heart that lacks alignment with truth. The Holy Scriptures warn us of this duplicity, reminding us that a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. Such instability seeps into every aspect of their lives, creating a ripple effect that disrupts relationships, tarnishes reputations, and leaves others disillusioned. Have you ever encountered someone who speaks with eloquence, their words dripping with charm and confidence, yet their actions reveal a starkly different reality? These are the people who promise loyalty but abandon you in your time of need, who pledge honesty yet weave lies to cover their tracks. Their words are sweet like honey, but their actions are as bitter as gall. In the sacred texts, we are called to let our yes be yes and our no be no. This is not merely a call to avoid deceit, but a divine command to live authentically. It is a reminder that our words are not to be spoken lightly, for they are a reflection of the condition of our hearts. When actions fail to align with words, it is not just trust that is broken, it is the moral fabric of our character that begins to unravel. Imagine the ripple effects of such inconsistency. A parent who promises to be present for their child's recital but fails to show up teaches the child that words are unreliable. A leader who vows transparency but operates in shadows breeds cynicism among followers. Even in friendships, inconsistency creates cracks that deepen with time, weakening bonds that were once strong. But the spiritual toll is perhaps the heaviest. How can one approach their Creator with clean hands and a pure heart when their life is marked by contradictions? The divine expects us to be stewards of integrity, for we are not only answerable to others, but also to the one who sees beyond words into the very depths of our souls. Inconsistency is often a sign of misplaced priorities or hidden agendas. It reveals that the individual is more concerned with appearances than with substance, more interested in impressing others than in doing what is right. And yet, even as we encounter such people, we are called not to judge harshly but to learn discernment. For trust to flourish, actions must echo the promises made. Words alone, no matter how beautiful or persuasive, are but a hollow shell without the substance of deeds to fill them. As we reflect on this, let us remember that trust, once lost, is not easily regained, and inconsistency is often its first undoing. Sign 2. Excessive secrecy. There is an ancient saying that goes, "What is hidden in darkness shall one day be brought to light." Secrecy, by its very nature, is a double-edged sword. While some secrets protect, shielding sacred truths or personal vulnerabilities, excessive secrecy casts a shadow over relationships, creating an atmosphere of doubt and mistrust. When someone consistently cloaks their life in secrecy, it raises a fundamental question: what are they hiding? And why? In healthy relationships, whether friendships, partnerships, or familial bonds, transparency acts as the glue that holds everything together. Transparency is a reflection of vulnerability and trust. It says, "I have nothing to hide, and I trust you with the truth of who I am." On the other hand, excessive secrecy builds walls where bridges should exist, isolating people and creating a sense of distance that words alone cannot repair. But secrecy often begins subtly. A vague response here, an evasion there. You may ask a seemingly simple question and receive an overly complicated or ambiguous answer. Over time, this pattern creates a gnawing unease, a sense that something is being withheld. And in that space of uncertainty, doubt begins to grow. The Holy Scriptures warn us of those who operate in the shadows, likening them to wolves in sheep's clothing. These individuals may present an outward appearance of honesty and friendliness, yet their secrecy reveals a heart that is unwilling to walk in the light of truth. God Himself calls us to live in the light, for in the light there is no room for deceit, duplicity, or hidden agendas. Consider the ripple effects of excessive secrecy in relationships. Imagine a spouse who constantly locks their phone, evades questions about their day, or becomes defensive when asked for simple clarity. Such behavior creates cracks in the foundation of the relationship, cracks that widen into chasms as mistrust grows. Or think of a friend who never shares details about their life yet probes deeply into yours. This imbalance fosters resentment, for trust thrives on mutual openness, not on one-sided vulnerability. Excessive secrecy is not just about withholding information, it is often a reflection of fear, insecurity, or manipulation. It can indicate a person who fears judgment, hides wrongdoing, or seeks control by keeping others in the dark. But as believers, we are reminded that a life lived in secrecy is a life lived in shadows, cut off from the freedom and clarity that comes from walking in the light. Secrecy is also corrosive to the soul. It requires constant vigilance and unending effort to maintain the walls that conceal the truth. Over time, this burden takes its toll, eroding the individual's peace and authenticity. For every hidden truth, there is an unspoken lie, and the weight of those lies grows heavier with time. When someone chooses excessive secrecy, they rob others of the opportunity to know them fully and to connect on a deeper level. They also deny themselves the chance to experience the freedom that comes from being known and loved for who they truly are. In essence, secrecy creates prisons for both the keeper of secrets and those who are shut out. Yet, it is important to approach such situations with wisdom and discernment. While secrecy often signals hidden motives, it may also stem from past wounds or unresolved fears. It is not for us to judge, but to seek understanding, to listen for what is unspoken, and to protect ourselves with healthy boundaries. The divine calls us to a life of truth and openness. When we live transparently, we not only honor others but also align ourselves with God's will, which is rooted in love, honesty, and light. Excessive secrecy, however, draws us away from these principles, leaving a trail of mistrust and broken connections in its wake. As we reflect on this sign, let us ask ourselves who in our lives is hiding behind a veil of secrecy, and how is it affecting the trust we share? The answer may not be easy to confront, but awareness is the first step toward discernment and healing. Sign 3: frequent excuses and blame shifting. Excuses and blame shifting are the masks worn by those who refuse to take responsibility for their actions. They are the refuge of the prideful, the fearful, and the deceitful, those who would rather distort the truth than confront their shortcomings. When someone frequently makes excuses or shifts blame onto others, it is a clear indication that they lack accountability, and where there is no accountability, trust cannot thrive. Imagine this: you're working on a shared goal with someone. A setback occurs, and instead of addressing their part in the issue, they weave a web of excuses blaming circumstances, other people, or even you. They may sound convincing, even righteous, in their deflections, but deep inside, you sense a pattern. This behavior is not a one-time slip, it is a recurring habit that leaves you carrying the weight of their unacknowledged faults. The scriptures remind us of the importance of humility in acknowledging our mistakes. From the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, where blame shifting first appeared, to the parables of accountability taught by Christ, we are shown that shirking responsibility leads not to redemption but to further separation from others, from ourselves, and ultimately from God. Accountability, on the other hand, is the path to reconciliation and growth. Blame shifting is often rooted in fear of judgment, rejection, or failure. By pointing the finger at others, a person seeks to protect their fragile ego, to preserve an image of perfection that can never truly exist. Yet in doing so, they sacrifice trust and authenticity. For how can you rely on someone who refuses to own their mistakes? How can you build a relationship with a person who, when confronted with difficulty, chooses to deflect rather than confront? Frequent excuses and blame shifting also breed an environment of instability. When someone refuses to take responsibility, conflicts remain unresolved and problems are swept under the rug, only to resurface later with greater intensity. This behavior creates a toxic cycle where trust erodes bit by bit until there is nothing left to salvage. Consider a colleague who always blames poor performance on external factors, unrealistic deadlines, lack of resources, or uncooperative team members. While these excuses may occasionally hold some truth, a consistent refusal to acknowledge their role in the outcome reveals a deeper issue. Such individuals become liabilities in any relationship or endeavor, as they are unwilling to grow or learn from their failures. On a spiritual level, this behavior reflects a heart that is not aligned with truth. The divine calls us to repentance, to confess our faults and seek forgiveness, not to hide behind excuses or shift blame onto others. In taking responsibility for our actions, we open the door to grace and transformation. But those who blame others close that door, choosing instead to remain trapped in the prison of their own denial. Blame shifting also sows discord among relationships. When someone consistently points fingers, they create division, turning people against one another to shield themselves from scrutiny. Friendships are fractured, families are strained, and teams are torn apart by the seeds of doubt and resentment that blame shifting plants. Think of the weight that excuses place on a relationship. They erode trust because they signal a lack of honesty and self-awareness. They create an imbalance where one person must constantly navigate the shifting sands of the other's unreliability. Over time, this imbalance becomes unsustainable, leading to frustration and eventual detachment. And yet there is hope for change. Accountability is a choice, and those who recognize their tendency to blame others can begin to break free from this destructive pattern. By embracing humility and truth, they can rebuild the trust that has been lost and forge deeper, more meaningful connections. For those observing this behavior in others, discernment is key. It is not always easy to confront someone who makes excuses or shifts blame, but it is necessary for protecting your own well-being and maintaining integrity in your relationships. Sign 4. Gossiping about others. The act of gossiping is often dismissed as harmless chatter, but in truth, it is a silent destroyer. Gossip corrodes trust, poisons relationships, and reveals more about the speaker's character than the subject of their words. When someone habitually gossips about others, it is a clear sign that they cannot be trusted. For if they speak ill of others to you, what's to stop them from speaking ill of you to others? The scriptures caution us time and again about the power of the tongue. Proverbs teaches, the words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts. What seems like casual talk has a profound impact, spreading seeds of doubt, mistrust, and discord wherever it lands. Gossip not only damages the reputation of the person being discussed, but also stains the heart of the one who spreads it. Imagine sitting with someone who eagerly shares the latest scandal, offering intricate details of someone else's struggles or mistakes. At first, it may seem entertaining or even enlightening. But then a chilling thought crosses your mind. If they're willing to share this about someone else, what might they be saying about you when you're not around? Gossip is a two-edged sword, and no one is safe from its cutting edge. Those who gossip often mask their behavior under the guise of concern or humor. They might say, "I'm only telling you this because I care," or "It's just a joke, don't take it seriously." But beneath these justifications lies a deeper issue, a lack of respect for others' privacy and a willingness to use someone's vulnerabilities as entertainment or leverage. Gossiping is also a reflection of insecurity. People who feel inadequate or insignificant often turn to gossip as a way to elevate themselves. By tearing others down, they attempt to build themselves up. But this is a house of cards, fragile and destined to collapse. Instead of addressing their own shortcomings, they focus on the flaws of others, avoiding the hard work of self-improvement. The spiritual implications of gossip are profound. To speak ill of others is to ignore the divine call to love one another, to be peacemakers, and to guard our words with wisdom. Gossip sows division where unity should flourish, turning friends into foes and creating a climate of suspicion. The tongue, though small, has the power to set great fires, and gossip is the spark that often ignites them. Consider the damage gossip does to communities. In workplaces, it undermines teamwork and erodes morale. In families, it creates rifts that can take years to mend. Even in friendships, gossip acts like a toxin, gradually breaking down trust until there is nothing left but regret and resentment. On a personal level, being surrounded by gossip can have a corrosive effect on your spirit. Listening to or engaging in gossip pulls you into a cycle of negativity, making it harder to focus on your own growth and purpose. It distracts you from what truly matters and aligns you with those who thrive on tearing others down. Gossip also isolates the gossiper, even if they don't realize it. While people may listen to their stories for a time, they eventually grow wary, knowing that they too could become the next target. Gossipers often find themselves surrounded by shallow connections, relationships built on shared negativity rather than mutual respect and trust. But the harm doesn't end with the relationships they damage. Gossiping distorts the gossiper's own heart, leading them further away from kindness, humility, and empathy. The more they focus on others' flaws, the less they see their own, creating a blind spot that prevents personal and spiritual growth. For those who recognize this behavior in others, it's crucial to remain vigilant. Be wary of those who seem to thrive on others' misfortunes, who bring you stories laced with judgment and malice. Such individuals are not allies, they are liabilities. Trusting them is like entrusting your secrets to the wind, which will surely carry them far beyond where they should go. As you reflect on the role of gossip in your life and the lives of those around you, ask yourself, what kind of words do I want to hear? And what kind of words do I want to speak? For where there is gossip, there is no trust. And where there is no trust, relationships crumble. Sign 6, a pattern of betrayal. Betrayal is the sharpest dagger that one can wield against another's heart. It pierces deeply, leaving wounds that often take years to heal. A pattern of betrayal, however, is more than just a momentary lapse in judgment. It is a recurring behavior that reveals a deeply ingrained flaw in a person's character. When someone has a history of broken promises, shattered relationships, and forsaken loyalties, it is a resounding warning that they cannot be trusted. Think of betrayal as the breaking of a sacred bond. It is the violation of trust, the undoing of what was once whole. Every relationship, whether it's between friends, partners, or colleagues, is built on an unspoken agreement. I will stand by you, and you will stand by me. Betrayal shatters that agreement, leaving behind a landscape of doubt and disillusionment. The Holy Scriptures are filled with cautionary tales of betrayal. Judas Iscariot, who sold his loyalty for 30 pieces of silver, stands as one of the most infamous examples. His actions were not just a betrayal of Christ, but a betrayal of friendship, trust, and divine purpose. This story serves as a reminder that betrayal often comes not from enemies, but from those closest to us, the ones we have allowed into the most sacred spaces of our lives. A pattern of betrayal often begins small, an unfulfilled promise, a secret shared in confidence, but then revealed, a commitment made but not kept. These small betrayals may seem insignificant at first, but over time they form a pattern that is impossible to ignore. Trust is like a thread, and each betrayal weakens it until it finally snaps. Consider someone in your life who consistently betrays others. Perhaps they jump from one relationship to another, leaving a trail of hurt and confusion in their wake. Or maybe they have a habit of breaking their promises, offering excuses instead of explanations. These behaviors are not isolated incidents. They are reflections of a deeper issue, a heart that prioritizes self-interest over loyalty, convenience over commitment. The consequences of a pattern of betrayal are far-reaching. It not only damages the betrayer's relationships, but also erodes their own integrity. Each act of betrayal distances them further from the trust and respect of those around them. Over time, they may find themselves isolated, surrounded only by people who, like them, operate without genuine loyalty or accountability. On a spiritual level, betrayal is a profound offense. It goes against the divine call to love, honor, and serve one another. When someone betrays another, they are not just breaking a human bond, but also disregarding the divine principles that uphold relationships. This disconnection from higher values leads to inner turmoil, as the betrayer struggles to reconcile their actions with their conscience. For those who are betrayed, the impact is equally significant. Betrayal leaves scars, emotional, mental, and sometimes even physical. It makes us question our own judgment, our worth, and the authenticity of others. Repeated betrayal from the same person can cause deep-seated trust issues, making it difficult to open up or rely on anyone in the future. But betrayal does not occur in a vacuum. A pattern of betrayal often points to deeper issues within the betrayer themselves: unresolved pain, a lack of self-worth, or an inability to form healthy connections. These individuals may be caught in a cycle of hurting others because they too have been hurt. While this doesn't excuse their actions, it does shed light on why such patterns persist. When you recognize a pattern of betrayal in someone, it is a call to protect yourself. Trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild, and when betrayal becomes a habit, it is unlikely that the person will change without significant self-reflection and transformation. Be discerning and remember that forgiveness does not mean placing yourself back in harm's way. Ask yourself, how many times have I allowed someone to betray me before I recognize the pattern? How much of my peace have I sacrificed trying to trust someone who has shown me they are not trustworthy? These are hard questions, but they are necessary for breaking free from the cycle of betrayal and reclaiming your sense of worth and dignity. Trust is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built. Yet it is also one of the most fragile elements of human connection, easily broken and painfully difficult to restore. As we've explored today, there are clear signs that someone may not be worthy of the trust you offer. Inconsistency between words and actions, excessive secrecy, frequent excuses and blame shifting, gossiping about others, and a pattern of betrayal are not just red flags, they are warnings that demand your attention and discernment. Recognizing these signs is not about becoming cynical or mistrusting everyone around you. It's about safeguarding your heart, your peace, and your well-being. Trusting the wrong person can leave you wounded, but learning to discern the trustworthy from the untrustworthy empowers you to build relationships that are genuine, fulfilling, and rooted in mutual respect. In this journey, let us also reflect on our own actions. Are we consistent in our words and deeds? Do we live transparently, or do we hide behind walls of secrecy? Do we take responsibility for our mistakes, or do we find it easier to blame others? Do we guard our tongues against gossip, and are we faithful in keeping the trust others place in us? These questions are not just for those around us, but for ourselves, as we strive to be people worthy of trust. Trust is not only a relational issue, it is a spiritual one. We are called to live in truth, to honor our commitments, and to treat others with the dignity and respect they deserve. When we align our lives with these principles, we not only build stronger connections with others, but also deepen our relationship with the divine. As you leave here today, I encourage you to carry this message with you. Trust is a treasure, guard it wisely. Be discerning about whom you allow into your inner circle, but also strive to be someone who earns the trust of others through your integrity, kindness, and honesty. Remember, the signs are there if you are willing to see them. Learn to listen to your intuition, to observe the patterns in behavior, and to protect your heart when necessary. But above all, choose to live a life that radiates trustworthiness. For in doing so, you not only enrich your own life, but also inspire others to do the same. Thank you for joining me on this journey of reflection and discernment. May you walk forward with clarity, confidence, and a heart filled with wisdom and grace.